In the state of Uttarakhand in northern India, there had just been an unprecedented flood. 3 cloudbursts that occurred almost simultaneously caused a massive downpour that resulted in hundreds of landslides and clogged up valleys and streams, adding to the flood. The ensuing flooding destroyed numerous villages. According to statistics provided by the Uttarakhandi government, 5,700 people were deemed dead. As word of this spread, from all over the world, aid arrived. Additionally, we at GQ did our very small part, but what I witnessed on television was what really moved me. One journalist had a reporter on the scene talking to people as they told their stories of war and heartbreaking suffering. "What is the tale of your misery?" the interviewer asked Mateji, as the cameraman suddenly turned to an elderly woman. "I am so grateful to God," she said. "You express gratitude to God." The interviewer expressed some slight concern, noting that positive news doesn't do much for the channel's Priya. This explains why the TV crew is more eager to break bad news than to hear the woman express her gratitude to God. Inquiringly, the interviewer murmured, "But is your house intact?" "It hasn't been harmed in any way. My house has been destroyed by the floods," the woman claimed. "Really? And you are giving God praise." "You know my husband is safe," the woman said. "My offspring and grandchildren are still around. The loss would be irreparable if they had been swept away, because of the size of this house. Me do it once more. After seeing that episode, I wished I could have been there to reach out and touch the woman's feet." She reframed the situation positively. Psychologists in the US teach this technique for $200 per hour as a consultation fee. This woman was not able to take advantage of such expert advice. She was simply acting on instinct and common sense. There is a saying that says it's not worth crying over spilt milk. I saw that the house had already been cleaned. She now had 2 options: sit there and cry, or look for the bright side of the situation. And the silver lining was that she still had so much to be grateful for and cherish. Let's use the nation as an example to emphasize this point. 1. He arrived at work on Monday morning, all smiles, and exclaimed to his friends, "This has been the best weekend of my life." "What's wrong?" the friend inquired. "Have you ever won the lottery?" "No, I was in a car accident," he responded. "Car crash?" "Yeah, my thumb was in excruciating pain after a crazy teenager slammed into my car from the side. I had it examined. A fracture has occurred. Your friend claimed you were involved in a car accident, have a fracture, and claim this is the best weekend of your life. Then he said that you ought to have noticed how badly the car's back was damaged. You would never guess from looking at that car that the driver was still alive, though I did. That was the grace of God. He has my eternal gratitude. Forget about the car. It'll be changed by the insurance provider. Look at Dinesh's perspective on the world right now. He had suffered a loss, but he chose to focus on the half-full portion of the cup instead. Lamenting over spilt milk is pointless. He was able to maintain his good spirits as a result of keeping the positive in mind. Therefore, there are 2 worlds, according to what the scriptures say. The first is the physical world that God created, and the second is the internal world that each of us shapes individually. We place the blame for our agitation, disturbance, and anxiety outside of ourselves. As a result, it comes tensed. The Bible, however, asserts that this world is perfect because an all-knowing personality created it. Your anxiety is a result of false self-talk. Saints who improved the condition of their bodies and minds started to feel the all-pervading divinity all around them. Israel was a complicated country, but further. So instead of realizing that our biggest weakness is our own destructive thoughts, we spend all of our energy trying to change our circumstances. The process of self-improvement and life transformation must start there. Let's be motivated by Katia Buckley, an actress, best-selling author, motivational speaker, and the nation's first comedian with hearing impairment. Katie's situation was not perfect. She had spinal cord damage when she was a young toddler, hearing loss brought on by meningitis. As a result, in elementary school, she was unable to understand what the teacher was saying. When another student's lip began to move, she would be busy lip reading. Then, a worn-out person assumed that she had a mental disability. He admits she regularly stole from her home and her parents to give gifts to her classmates before realizing she had a hearing impaired gait. She desired their acceptance and love for her. She yearned to be a part of something bigger than herself, just like the rest of us. She graduated from high school with an astonishing grade point average of 1As. I've failed at many things in life, but the 5 suicide attempts I made before turning 19 are the only ones I've ever regretted. Then, when she was 20 years old, a lifeguard jeep ran over her as she was sunbathing on the beach. Her body suffered numerous fractures as a result. She spent the subsequent 2.5 years in bed before spending an additional 2.5 years in a wheelchair. Liv had another bouncer in store and was diagnosed with cervical cancer just as she began to feel like she could move once more. She was disabled for an additional 2 years, and she claims, "I always died." She made the decision to alter her thinking at that point. She muttered, "How dare people to say that?" to herself. "I am deaf. Who are they to assert that I am unable to walk properly? And how can anyone take away my right to live?" She consequently started swimming as a result. Her legs were revived by that, and she soon resumed her normal gait. She accepted a position as a massage exercise specialist. One of our patients had gait-related cerebral palsy. He learned that it was beneficial to their health when she made them laugh. She then began to get better and better at being a human. I was inspired to advocate for cerebral palsy by her patient. There was a fundraiser planned, and the top comics in the nation were attending. The only issue was Kate. He was unaware that it was a formal event. She participated as one of the 8 B comedians and took 4th place in the drumline. After that, she began performing on the comedy circuit in America, where she rose to fame. She discovered her gift for inspiring others when she was requested to lead A. She founded a workshop for disabled people and now inspires millions of people worldwide with her talks and best-selling book. Let's learn from her experience. Let her also keep in mind that, despite the challenges we face, we have the power to choose our thoughts. Let me read to you from my most recent book, The Power of Thoughts, about this. The order of causation is something that very few people in the world pay attention to. They struggle to make their actions better, but their development is thwarted by their own thoughts. They could have achieved amazing results with even a small portion of their efforts if they had instead concentrated on changing their way of thinking. There are 2 aspects to the power of thought. I talked about harmful thoughts and eradication methods in the first half. They are being sublimated. I've covered techniques to free your mind and live life to the fullest in the second half. I wish you a magnificent and enlightening journey as we turn the pages of this book together. You see, the things we need for a wildly successful life don't even cost us anything. In actuality, 60,000 of them en masse, produced each day. The problem is that both the quantity and the quality are out of control. We would be able to access a tremendous force that is accessible to everyone if we could only improve this resource of ours. I'm referring to our thoughts. When our thoughts are deplorable, discouraging, or immoral, all of our actions are preceded by thought. That'll do. We, as a result, live a deplorable and miserable existence, and we develop a divine personality and a heroic character when we decide to take noble, heroic, and sublime thoughts. We must therefore think about thoughts because they are so crucial to us. And for the upcoming episodes, that is what we will do. The Power of Parts, the latest book, was also released concurrently.